Hi everyone, my name is Hui.
Hi, my name is Rachel.
Welcome to Coastal College Info Section. Cheers!
Cheers!
Hey. Hi everyone, my name is Hui. I'm here today to introduce you about the general information of Coastal College and how we run the program this summer. So back to 2016, that was the first time that I joined the program. I was a coach in baseball and I taught biology with one of my best friends, Rachel. And here, Rachel.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel. I use she, her pronouns, and like Hui said, I've been working with Coach for College pretty much since 2016 when I was first a coach with Hui. If you're interested in more of the backstory on how Hui and I became super good friends and also now colleagues working with Coach for College, you can check out our first video that goes into more of the personal details of how you make friendships and relationships in Coach for College. This video, as Hui said, is more focused on the logistics and in particular this coming summer's virtual program for the American side and in person for the Vietnamese. So we hope you find this information helpful, and let's get started.
So what is Coastal College? So Coastal College is an international NGO which mainly focuses on educating and mentoring the middle school students in rural regions of Vietnam. Every year we organize camps and they're led by both Vietnamese and American college students coming from different parts of Vietnam and the United States.
Coach for College has really three main groups that we like to think about when we're talking about programming and really the work that Coach for College is trying to do on the whole. So first you have the Vietnamese university students who will volunteer with the program. They come from all over Vietnam, and that is similar to the second group of American university student athletes. So these student athletes, like myself, like many of your former teammates probably, came from all over the US to join Coach for College. And so the dynamic between not just having a bunch of Americans come into a community and do service work, but actually be involved with folks who are from the place is super, super cool and honestly also very valuable when it comes to having some context about what's going on for these students in the countryside of Vietnam. The third group, and by far the most important, are the middle school students who will be mentored, taught, and coached in the Coach for College program.
So why Coastal College different from other service programs? Because it is a co-teaching project, so it doesn't just bring the foreigner come and do the service, but also relies heavily on the way that they work with the Vietnamese volunteer college students and also the staff coming from different parts of Vietnam. The main mission of Coastal College is to promote higher education and to reduce the dropout rate of the secondary school students in the rural regions of Vietnam. To help you have a better picture of what we're talking about, let's watch our videos after this.
Here we have a middle school student living in the Mekong Delta of Vietnam. So the mission of COC, as Hui said, is to promote higher education. So for this middle school student, that probably means just continuing education beyond middle school into high school or maybe college. Seems pretty simple, but let's take a look at more of the context of the other polls on this middle schooler they have to worry about. So, especially in this region, commitment to family is a huge piece for the middle school student. It's taking care of parents, maybe a younger sibling, maybe even older grandparents. And one of the biggest ways that they show this commitment and help out the family is through rice farming, especially in this region. Or some students will help out in local family-owned businesses or shops. As the students get older, one of the other huge draws is going to work in factories. This is a way to make quick money, not necessarily continue education, but it does help out their family in the short term. So you add those polls and considerations into other school things like an entrance exam for high school students, the actual amount of time it takes to get to school, many travel by bike and for quite a few miles, and then normal middle school struggles like conflict resolution, making friends, and identity. That's a lot for any middle school student. So then the question is, where does CFC fit into this? And how might Coach for College help? This is why the teaching model of CFC goes beyond only classroom learning and beyond a service project run by only foreign volunteer teachers. As you can see in the top diagram, CFC is a co-teaching project, one that involves both Vietnamese and American university students in teaching these Vietnamese middle schoolers. As you can see in the lower diagram, CFC is not just a teaching project, but also a mentorship program that involves not only teaching academics, but also coaching sports and mentoring students through life skills lessons. This is the real foundation of what Coach for College strives to do, to rethink education in a way that takes into account the variety of pulls on these middle school students living in the Mekong Delta, to create a program that these kids might actually benefit from long-term, regardless of their path. This structure is what makes CFC sustainable in the community in Vietnam too. Often the old Vietnamese coaches return to the schools where CFC summer camps were held to visit the kids. We can tell you all about this. I've even been Skyped into a few of these visits, and it's pretty awesome. A few years ago, we even had an old student from a CFC program return to coach after making it to university. That stuff is pretty cool, and that's what CFC is all about.
So this year we decided to run the hybrid and in-person version of it because, as you may know, the COVID just made everything impossible for the American students to travel back to Vietnam. However, the Vietnamese students will still be able to travel to Mekong Delta to lead the program, which is a good news.
Hui and I also have been working together and even just trying to stay in touch virtually for the last 10-12 months now. And it's challenging. So we have been trying to design the virtual programming with this in mind and think about what pieces we can really engage with in a meaningful way and what pieces are not so helpful. So hopefully you'll see this in the coming summer too, but we've tried to be very intentional with what is included in the virtual program and what is not. I also will say, speaking from the American side, and this is answered more and talked about in the frequently asked questions video, but just to say it briefly here, the opportunity for the American volunteers in this case to really play more of a backseat role instead of being the ones going to a new country, exploring a new culture, meeting new people, but instead to be kind of behind a screen, assisting from afar, is actually a really cool opportunity from an ethics standpoint to understand what it means to do service and maybe not get the reward that we as Americans, we as student athletes are often used to getting. So again, discuss more in future videos, but just something to start thinking about when considering any sort of service program really in the virtual space this summer.
There are three main activities that we do together. The first one, we doing lesson planning together. So we prepare the lesson for the kids. The second one, we interact with each other. We share everyday matters, funny stories. And the third one, we do cultural activities together. Like we cook together, we sing together, something like that. And talking a little bit more about the cultural exchange activities, this is one of the featured activities that Coach College has for this year, because I bet that many of you would be curious about what Vietnamese people here are doing, what food do they eat, how the street look like, and then what activity that they're doing every day. So we will make sure that we will organize some activity to help you know more about the Vietnamese culture and to make sure that they are worth your experience. The academics and the sports subject of this year will be similar to the ones that we had last year. So for the academics one, we're gonna have math, biology, physics, and English as a second language. And for sports, we're gonna have volleyball, basketball, soccer, and dance.
We do try to work with what everyone's strong suits are in terms of certain sports and academic subjects, but you also have to remember that this is everything at the middle school level, so it's very likely that most of you will already be more than prepared to work on whatever sport or academic subject you're given. There are also lesson plans that Coach for College makes and has revised curriculum from previous years, and so you also will be getting that this year to work as a guide in when you're brainstorming, but also when you're working on lesson planning with the Vietnamese volunteer staff. So let's talk about the overview of the 2021 virtual program from a time contribution standpoint. So kind of a day in the life, what you can expect is about 1.5 to 2 hours meeting every day by Zoom. For the American side, this will be in the evenings, Sunday through Thursday. This is Sunday through Thursday because in Vietnam it will be one day sooner, so we're talking Monday through Friday, a normal school teaching week. Outside of that, you can expect probably 45 minutes to an hour and a half per day, preparing videos based on certain sports lessons, and sometimes based on demos for the academic subjects. Really, the creation of videos and tangible content to help the Vietnamese staff and teach the kids in hopefully a more interactive way is the meat of the work that the Americans will be doing this summer.
Thanks everyone for watching.
If you have any more questions, send us an email at the email address down below.
We hope to see you this summer.